Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is December 15th of 2025. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a Defcon-Level event during the live broadcast of Monday Night Football on the evening of December 15th in the United States and or December 16th elsewhere in the world. So for those of you that don't follow football, the Miami Dolphins are going to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and is going to be aired nationally on ESPN and internationally on ESPN Plus. Coincidentally, the Pittsburgh Steelers was one of the teams that was featured in the nuclear Bible terror plot between the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dallas, Texas, back on February 6th of 2011. I published a book entitled The Nuclear Bible about a false flag Al-Qaeda nuclear terror attack targeting this particular event, and consequently the CIA is unable to stage a direct attack on the stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and so they plan to use the live broadcast of this game to stage an attack elsewhere in the United States or the world during this live event on the evening of December 15th. So basically, we can expect some sort of catastrophic DEFCON level event to transpire between 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 1 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the morning of December 16th. So exactly what type of event is planned is obviously not known. I'm just basically going to highlight the most likely scenarios which I have identified for the evening of December 15th, morning of December 16th. According to the latest reports, the interstellar comet known as 3I Atlas is going to be making its epoch closest to Earth on the date of December 19th, which is in 4 days. So the CIA is planning on staging some sort of Hollywood-like alien disclosure event under the guise of this approaching planet, or they plan to stage some sort of asteroid or comet strike targeting a particular location on Earth, possibly Portugal and or Spain. I have also identified for the date of December 16th, I made a previous video about this. The CIA is planning on staging some sort of Iranian drone, nuclear warhead-laden 9/11 style kamikaze drone attack targeting Israel. Obviously, in the aftermath of my last video, it's highly likely that this particular location would be changed. I also have identified an Al-Shabaab Boko Haram plot featuring a previously stolen Boeing 727 from Angola. So they plan on crashing this into Miami Beach in Miami, Florida. The plane would likely be loaded with biological, chemical, radiological, or nuclear-related materials. It's also highly likely that the CIA will stage some sort of nuclear ICBM strike under the guise of a Russian, Chinese, Iranian, Pakistani, Indian, or North Korean strike. I have also identified a false flag Russian paratrooper based attack targeting Guantanamo Bay Naval Base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. This will likely be CBRN in nature and likely spawn a second global biological pandemic. In respect to the ongoing buildup of, there's one aircraft carrier and 8 ships currently anchored off or sailing off the coast of Venezuela. It's highly likely that the CIA would stage some sort of Russian, Chinese, or Iranian arrival of ships in Venezuela and or Cuba as pretext for some sort of Cuban Missile-like crisis, some sort of escalating event designed to trigger World War III. I've also identified in the aftermath of the December 14th Ukrainian underwater drone called Sea Baby. They just blew up a Russian submarine in the Black Sea yesterday, and so the CIA is planning on staging some sort of Russian revenge attack targeting Ukraine. This may be CBRN in nature, it may be a nuclear strike, but considering that the Russian Air Force just moved a fleet of Su-34 fighter/bomber jets to the Ukrainian front, it's highly likely that some sort of strategic bombing attack targeting Ukrainian military facilities or capital city of Kiev could come under attack. You also have to remember that there are French and British troops serving in Ukraine on behalf of against Russia on behalf of the Ukrainian armed forces, and so some strike targeting mercenaries is expected. There's also a realistic possibility that the CIA would stage some sort of 9/11 style nuclear terror event targeting Tokyo, Japan. We know that the country of Japan has suffered 3 catastrophic nuclear events with Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Fukushima, and so a 4th is expected. This would likely be blamed on some sort of a Southeast Asian Islamic terror group, such as Al-Qaeda. I forget the names of them, but there's a bunch of them in the Philippines that the CIA would likely scapegoat for this impending attack. There's also a realistic possibility that the CIA would stage some sort of North Korean EMP or nuclear tsunami related event. This could be with an ICBM strike over the North American power grid, over Canada, over the Pacific Ocean. In that case, it would likely trigger some sort of radioactive tsunami targeting the Pacific Ring of Fire. And there is also the realistic possibility that some sort of cyber-related event or EMT or sabotage event would be targeting the North American transmission grid. If we look to Ukraine, there's over 1 million people currently in Ukraine without power, and the CIA is planning on staging some sort of an event in the United States to knock out the power grid. This would obviously spark mass civil unrest, riots, declaration of martial law, and likely the deployment of U.S. National Guard troops. So some sort of cyber attack, possibly blamed on Iran or Russia or China, is expected. In respect to the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war, it was reported today, December 15th, that NATO will drop its accession bid into, Ukraine will drop its accession bid into NATO, and so the grand idea that, which is the red line for Russia, Russia said if NATO accepts Ukraine into their group, that they will see that as crossing a red line, obviously. So that is expected. Ukraine has formally applied to join the European Union and NATO, and so some sort of acceptance into those groups is expected as provocation. There's also the possibility that an official declaration of war would be declared against Russia by NATO nations. There was just a secret meeting a few days ago in London between Zelensky, Macron, Starmer, and Merz of Germany. So what they're planning on doing is not known, but they are just itching to get this thing going. So some sort of official declaration of war is expected. That being said, there's also the realistic possibility that they would stage some sort of preemptive attack on Russia, believe it or not. And so some sort of act of war, an attack, a bombing, or an invasion of possibly Kaliningrad or Russian-held territory in Ukraine is also a realistic possibility. That being said, some sort of Axis invasion or attack or act of war by the likes of China Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, or Russia is also highly likely. Last but not least, on the heels of the December 14th mass shooting attack targeting Hanukkah celebrations in Sydney, Australia, um, these Hanukkah lasts until December 22nd, and so I'm just going to go ahead and state on the record that the CIA is planning on staging a secondary attack targeting Jewish-related entities around the world. In this particular case, it's going to be a CBRN. It's going to spawn a second global biological pandemic, because they will say that the perpetrators, whoever they scapegoat for this impending attack, will have successfully been able to weaponize some sort of biological contagion. And so this is what they're setting it up for. And so whether this attack transpires on the evening of December 15th, it is not known, but it will transpire prior to the day of December 22nd, most likely. Considering the recent Al-Qaeda attack on U.S. National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. back on November 26, and the ISIS attack targeting U.S. National Guard troops in Syria on December 13th, I believe, it looks like they're setting this up for some sort of joint Al-Qaeda-ISIS collaboration targeting Israel and or Jewish-related entities around the world. That's just my opinion, obviously, but it looks like they're setting this up for some sort of major event, and that these particular National Guard members are blood sacrifices that are being offered up to this impending event, which is designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic. Also, with the murder of Rob Reiner, the Jewish filmmaker in Los Angeles, yesterday, December 14th, it's highly likely that the CIA is planning on staging some sort of movie, like some sort of theatrical narrative that has been previously depicted in a Hollywood film. And this appears to be what they're that his death was likely a blood sacrifice as well, and that some sort of horrific attack is about to befall the Jewish people, either in the United States or in Israel, and that this is basically what they're gearing up for. So obviously, if the CIA stages any sort of Defcon-level event on the evening of December 15th of 2025, obviously know that it was planned and orchestrated out of Geneva, Switzerland. So I would kindly ask that you download this video and share with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.